welcome to my channel. So, if you're like me and obsessed with the art side of YouTube, you've seen quite a few artist videos featuring this super cute jelly gouache paint set. It is the HIMI or MIYA gouache set, and it's sort of become a fad product, if you will, due to its aesthetic, so naturally I had to try it. I didn't film myself taking the sills off of every jelly cup because it was such a tedious process, and there are so many videos out there that show you how to do it. Any supplies used will be listed in the description box. As you can see, I decided to do some color swatching before I get to work. I haven't used just gouache for a painting since college, so this was a way for me to test out the product to see how it initially felt when painting. It also allowed for me to check the opacity of the paint as I worked, since I do tend to layer a lot and use a lot of water. Gouache is a rather opaque medium, but some artists treat it like watercolor, especially in the beginning stages. If you remember like that old chalky tempera paint they often had us using in grade school, gouache is much like that. Very matte, except it's a bit more refined. With gouache, you'll want to start out using more thinned out layers to lay your colors down. Then you can start adding in the more opaque layers, but be careful, gouache can get muddy very quickly, especially if you use white too soon. With traditional gouache, you can also experience the lower layer lifting with the addition of another layer or too much water. It's one of those mediums that can reactivate, which can be a plus, but it can also be the downfall of a piece. These jelly gouaches can and they will reactivate right on your paper, but on a positive note, they can be reactivated on your paint palette as well with a good spritz of water. So if you mix a particular color that you really want to go back to, and there's plenty of it left on that palette and it dries, you can just add a spray of water and you'll be fine. So yeah, as you've seen, this paint palette comes with so much paint. So if you were worried that it would dry out before you were able to use it, don't. If you notice that your colors seem to be losing their jelly-like consistency, just grab a spray bottle. They won't bounce back like they were initially. They'll lose that jelly sort of visual texture, I guess, but they'll still work out. Okay, so moving forward, let's finally discuss the painting that I'm working on. I created this cute character, Stella, and she's now my go-to character that I'll sketch or draw when I can't really picture anything else. And thank goodness for Stella, because so much inspiration comes from this character. I created my own prompt list for October thanks to the controversy surrounding the standard October prompt list for ink or drawing. I'm not gonna mention the controversy. There are videos on YouTube regarding it. Anyways, my prompt list is composed of 31 spooky cute prompts. I never finish drawing prompt lists, but whatever, I'm trying, so that's all that matters. I decided to combine prompts using my list. The two prompts would be combined into one illustration over a 2-day period of time. That way it would be a little bit easier for me to get through the list. Is it making it any easier? Maybe. Those that I used for this particular painting were potions and brew. So at this point in the painting process, I'm working on Stella's face, and I'm sort of freaking out because I really don't feel like I know what I'm doing. I guess it's taking a lot of memory to try to remember how to paint with gouache or any medium other than watercolor. It's very difficult for me to do. But I start to get it, I guess. I actually found it really nice working with the gouache. Um, it was much easier to layer on this particular paper type with the gouache because my pigment didn't keep lifting off of the paper. At some point, I did think that her face was starting to get a little bit too muddy because I was adding white too quickly, because I'd started to get worried about her facial features not turning out the way that I envisioned them. But it started to actually work out. I just had to make sure to not overwork her face and to move on to other parts of the painting. Yeah, as you can see, she starts to form. Her face starts to form. She starts to look human. Well, as human as you can get with an illustrated character. I hadn't really determined a light source when I was working on this painting. I know, bad me, but it turned out well, I guess. It shows that the light source is coming from I would say her left side, right side if we're looking at the screen. So I was able to just make sure like the darkest part of the painting were darkest parts of the painting were on the left, so that it kind of, I don't know, it gave it a more, not sinister, but more ethereal effect, I guess, to kind of have it not just one, I don't know what I'm trying to explain, but to try to have like a glow or a light source kind of hit her face from her left side. It also helped when it came to determining the colors to use for the shadows, because I didn't want to use just black for the shadows, so I would go in with like purples or blues or even reds at some point. But honestly, I shocked myself so much with working on this painting. I'm so proud of myself. It turned out better than I thought it would, especially since I haven't really painted a full illustration with gouache in a very long time. Just look at her face. I'm so pleased with it. And it goes a lot faster than watercolor. Um, yeah, watercolor the paper tends to stay wet a little bit longer, so you'll end up having to use like a hair dryer, especially if you're trying to rush to get it done. But I found myself not needing to wait too long to paint when I was using the gouache. And yeah, it did dry quickly, but it was a faster process for me. I mean, I guess it could also have a lot to do with the fact that I didn't out detail myself. That's a problem I have, is adding too much detail to paintings. So I have to go in there with a super like stiff hand and try to get like the details and work really slowly when I'm using watercolor. So that could be it too. Figuring out that I needed a light source and that it worked well for this piece allowed me to play with the colors in a way that I don't typically do as well. I just recently completed a super detailed watercolor piece, um, having to do with the prompts Cinders and Bell Jar. Hopefully I'm able to post a picture in this video so you can see what I'm talking about. It's also featuring Stella, and in this piece I started painting a lot differently than I typically do with watercolors. I added in, well, first off, I used masking fluid, and I haven't used that since I was in college, so A plus for me. Secondly, I started out with really, really light colored layers for the light source. So the masking fluid that I have is tinted yellow, so that helped me with planning the light source with that painting. I call it fire stars because it's super inspired by like the Ghibli movies, and I didn't even realize it until after I drew it. But whatever, I'm going off on a tangent. But the central part of the piece is the fire, so the light source had to be really really strong, and the masking fluid helped with that. So I was able to plan out the way the light hits certain surfaces, and I never do that. So that actually helped me when it came to adding in a light source for this painting, even if it was subconscious. I did realize it a little bit later on. Oh, wait, I can put, this yellow paint here, and it'll kind of give a sense of light in this particular area. So that's what I did there. And I suppose it could be considered a subtle light source because it's not super strong, but it works. It's not just her face in, one particular shade. I have a multitude of colors there that represent the fact that, hey, skin does glow. Light hits skin and it turns a different color, or appears to be a different color. I also went in with the shadows here and added purples and blues to the shadows because I just felt that it worked so well. Like gouache is really good for being able to do that. I guess it's considered a sort of glazing technique. I don't know. I could just be making things up, but the purple and the blue worked well in the shadows that were cast in this particular piece. So yeah, I'm not sure that I have too much more to say regarding this painting, just that I am super happy with how it turned out. I did do a little bit of work off camera because I use my phone to record at the moment, and the battery likes to die quickly when I'm recording stuff. So yeah, and I have a baby who likes to kick and punch my camera tripod. So but I will be checking out now. There's a little bit left to the painting. As you can see, it's almost done. Please like and subscribe. I'm trying to do a video every couple of months. I'm even looking into starting a Patreon, so keep a lookout. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is starwisp. If you decide to do my prompt list is on my Instagram, tag me in a post. We still have a little over halfway to go with the prompts, so feel free to join in at any time. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.